How are you all doing? Good? Okay. So welcome to Swiflearn online classes. As you already know that Swiflearn is the India's most sincere learning destination for classes 1 to 10. All the classes over here are 100% live and interactive classes. If you have any sort of doubt, you can ask to the teacher in the classes only, and the teacher will explain everything, all the concepts in the classes, right? Secondly, we give personalized attention to each and every students, and in each of our batches, maximum 6 students are there. This basically help the student also to ask their doubt without any hesitation, and it will be totally a smooth class. Like we can also keep an eye on you how you are progressing. Accordingly we will give you the feedback, and this will definitely help you to improve yourself. Okay, now coming to the third thing, we have a very good dedicated academic mentor team who continuously track how you are progressing, and according to that you will again get the feedback. There will be PTM and so on. Okay, our main focus is you should learn everything in a very interactive way, and you can improve yourself and you can score more, right? And the fourth is we cover the syllabus as per your school examination schedule. Whatever topic is coming in your school examination, you can tell it to us. We will do those topics first, and then we will move on to the rest of the topics. Now let's see what are our key features. So those were the general features, and why this Swiflearn is different from any other platform. The first one is we maintain a detailed progress report of each and every students, and this progress report will help you to improve yourself. We will have the PTM also, जैसे आपके स्कूल में भी PTM होता है. Secondly, we have the Swiflearn academic test series, that is SAT in short we call. It happens in every Sunday. You will be able to perform, and your uh, rank along with your name will be given on our leaderboard. And the third and the fourth is the very very important thing, that is we have unlimited practice test. So you can practice unlimited question answer after completing revising all the chapters. Okay, so both subjective and objective tests are there. So solve the question answer so that all the concepts will be totally clear to you, and submit it so that we can check your answer, and we will give you the feedback how to compactly write the answer so that you will never lose any marks in your school exam as well as the board exam, right? So for experiencing all these things, what you have to do is book the free trial class anytime whenever you are free and experience all this, and then enroll your name in our regular batches so that we will meet in all the days, and we can discuss a lot of different types of topic every day, right? Now let's move on to the topic, and before that let me remind whoever has not subscribed the channel, please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon so that you will never miss any of the update of our upcoming sessions. And do not forget to like, comment and share. Also share with your friends so that they can also get the same benefit. Now let's move on to today's topic. Today we are going to study a new topic, that is population. It's a very very important topic, and you should know about this because the increasing population in our country, mainly India, is creating a huge problem on both the human being as well as the nature. Okay, so let us see what are the different problems and how we can solve all these problems. In today's session, we are going to discuss about what is population, how it is rising, the rapid rise in the population from the historic stages till the modern age, how it is basically rising, and why the main reason behind this rising of the population we are going to discuss. Then we will discuss about the simplified model of the population growth, need for the adoption to control this population. What are the different controlling measures which can take care of so that the population will not rise like this. Then we will go about the population in India and the rising population. What are the different pressures which are acting or affecting all the natural resources of our country? So this is also another thing which we are going to discuss. Then we will study about the statistical terms which are related to the population growth, and so that we will be able to understand the different terms or the different situations related to the population growth. And finally we are going to discuss about the population education and how to control this rising of the population. Okay, so I hope all of you are ready. Yes. Okay. Now, before going to the whole detail of the population, its control and everything, so what do you know about population? We are so much concerned about this population. Now, what is this? Anybody can tell me? So it is nothing but the increase of the human being or the increase of a particular species. Then we can call that as a total population, right? So let us learn about the population and the control measure. So the first definition of the population is the total number of people in a particular region. So it can be any sort of geographical region. It can be a town, a city, a country, or mm, village also. So we say sometimes like this ki the population of India is this. That means the total number of human being within the whole country is that. Okay. Next, sometimes we can also consider the population of a particular state. Like we sometimes say that the population of West Bengal or the population of Delhi is this, right? So that means that we are going to discuss about the total number of human beings which are residing within that particular region. Up to this much clear? So this is known as the population. Now, as this increase of population is a very serious problem, we can see here and there, and mainly through the different types of mass communication, the media, we get to know about the ad. They generally try to educate the people so that the growth of the population will not be that much and it can be reduced, right? So we can see a lot of different advertisement, the placards, the different rallies and all to control the population of our country. Now let us see from the very historic period that what were the population that time and why the population was less at that time and why it is so much more. Okay, so if we consider the stone age, that is when the people were using the stones, basically there was no proper tool of the iron and bronze or whatever it is. So what was the population condition on in the whole world? It was like 1 million around 50,000 years ago. Okay. And if we think about just 10,000 years ago, then we can see that the population reached 5.3 millions. Now, can you imagine like how the growth rate of the population is? Okay, so you will come to know about how it is increasing after knowing the living condition of the people or the human being at that time and nowadays what is happening. So let us see. In those days, in the Stone Age, if I think about the people, they know nothing about the agriculture. They generally live in the shelter, the caves and all. They hunt the different animals. They just roast the raw flesh of animals just by striking the stones and using the fire at that places, and very simple use of sticks, stones and bones were all for their different tools for using the different types of serving the very basic survival or the very basic life, right? But then what happened, if we think about the revolution which is coming in, uh, which has come 10,000 years before, so we come to know about the people. They started settling in a community. They started living within the primitive hearts. They started living with the different other human being. They make friendship with them. They make the different types of tools which are made up of bronze and iron and the different other metals other than those stone weapons. They started making all of them. They started domesticating the different domestic animals like the dog, cat, sheep, horses, elephant, camel and all, so that they can get a proper product from them, so they can at least get those products to continue their life. And also the agriculture. So this agriculture, when this come to their mind for giving more food or producing more food, and they can store those food for the future use also, it started the rapid growth of the population. Okay, so these are the main reason for the main growth of the population. Like when they are seeing that agriculture can serve a lot of different foods and they can store the food for the future period also, so they started reproducing so that more human being will come and they can use all these things and they can survive properly. Now after the revolution human stepped into the metal age, जैसे मैंने already बोला कि stone age के बाद metal age आया and they started using the different metal tools and the whole human population started growing faster. Okay, now the main two rise of population, the causes of rise of population nowadays are, first is the industrial revolution and the second one is the medical science, the huge discoveries, the huge development of our medical science. Okay, so the first one, if we see that when it started in the 17th century, the industrial revolution, there was rapid growth of industries for solving all the different types of purposes for us so that we can be very much comfortable, luxurious life we can lead. And there are also greater opportunities for the job of the various people, and definitely more and more production of the food, the varieties of the food also which are produced in the different industries, and they can also store for the future uses. So this is one main reason for the growth of the population. And the second reason is the new discoveries in the medical science. When people come to know about the different types of medicines, mainly the antibiotics and the vaccinations, so many different diseases which could not be treated previously can be treated now, yeah, for taking the after taking the vaccinations and the antibiotics and so on. So the lifespan of the whole human being is also expanding, and that is why the death rate is decreasing and the reproduction rate is increasing, because nowadays human know about the different uses of the different medicines, they can treat properly and they can reproduce. Even if a couple is not cannot reproduce, they can go for some different ways of taking the child, right? So I guess you already know and you all will agree with me. So this new discoveries in the medical science is the second reason for the huge growth of the population in our country, right? So let us just see with the help of a graph that you can see that the three revolution are focusing over here. The first one is the stool making revolution. It is growing, okay, but it has become stable a little bit. But when people started the agricultural practice, cultivation of the different crops and also rapid growth of population was seen. Okay, and when it is the scientific industrial revolution as well as the proper medical science is developing, the huge growth is seeing and it is increasing and increasing. There is no stability because we are all getting all the different comfort as well as the luxury so that we can survive properly in the whole world, right? So let us see with the help of just one example. This is a simplified model of the population growth. I have considered over here four men generation. So let it, this one is generation 1, this one be generation 2, this one generation 3, and this one is generation 4. So let us see how a population is growing with the growth of the, like, in each of the generation. So if we think about in the first generation, year 1, it is only 10 couples are there. So if each of the couple is having four children, then we can say the total 40 children are there. Yes, and 10 couples means 20. If we think one couple is father and mother, so 20 people. So 40 plus 20 kitna ho raha hai? 60. So the total population in year 1 was 60. Clear? Now, when these 40 children will also grow up and come to an age of 20 or 30, they will also reproduce. Yes, they will get married to each other. Just we are considering that they are not marrying with anybody else outside this couple. So they are like marrying within this couples only. So what will happen? 40 new generation or the children means they will make up 20 couples. Okay, and each of the 20 couples again will give rise to 4 birth of the children. Then it will be 80, right? So the total will be 20 plus 40 plus 80, right? So what will be the answer? The total population in the second generation after 20, only 20 years, you can see it will be 140. Yep. Now, the similarly same thing if we consider that the 80% over here are marrying with each other, making 40 couple and giving rise, each of them will giving rise to four birth of the fourth child, then what will happen? The population in the third generation will be 300. Yes, and the fourth generation, as we are considering basically fourth generation, because you can see the year 60. So 60 year we are taking as an average lifespan of the human being. Okay. Now over here, what will happen? 160 will make 80 couples, and 80 couples can, if each of the couple give birth to four children, then total 320 children will be there. And if I consider everyone are alive in the previous generation, so if you just add all of them, you will get 600. So, after 60 years, can you imagine like how the population has grown? So, in the first year it was 60, and in the 60th year it has become 600. So, it is 10 times larger than that of the very first generation. In each of the four generation, if it is like 10 times more the population, then can you imagine how the growth of the population will be in our country or all over the world? Yes. Okay, so this is just one example to show you how the population is growing in the country. Now, over here, let us see first what are the different problems which are created or the serious threats on the environment for this growth of the population. First one is the decreasing of the open space, because we are using up the space for making the industries, making the different roadways, railways, our houses, factories, and all. So, shrinking of the forest takes place. So, you already know that the forest is very, very important for maintaining a proper ecosystem in our earth, right? So, we will also discuss how what will be the main problems if the shrinking of the forest occur. Then the increasing industrialization causes the air and water pollution along with the land pollution or the soil pollution. The rapid shortage of the drinking water or the any sort of resources, the natural resources, there will be a pressure on them, and increasing of the pollution will give the health hazards. We will not be able to survive properly without any disease if this increase of the pollution is also there, right? So, in order to reduce this trait, we can control the population growth all over the world, right? Now, see, this is the population in India. Let us just consider the population of our country. So, here you can see that rise of population in India is really very high, and the population has been steadily rising from the last 100 years due to getting a lot of different types of varieties of facilities, mainly, and because life is very much comfortable on Earth now. See, growth rate of the population is 1.1%, which is very high. And at this rate, if India is already numbered more than 1.39 billion now, and if this increase in this way rate, then it will also overtake the most populated country, that is China, within 2025. Can you imagine? And then just think about the geographical area of China and India. China is huge, so that is why they can, like people can stay over there. But over here in our country, the geographical area will be very less, right? Yes, so it is very much densely populated. Now, let us see why this population explosion is there in India and what are the different factors responsible for this. First is the illiteracy. Among many people, mainly in the rural areas, this is a huge problem. Second is various traditional beliefs, the economic reason, the mortality rate, lack of the recreation, and the desire for a male child. Again, a very serious problem in our country. So let us see what they think about giving birth to more and more child. First of all, the illiteracy. Yes, many people have the superstition and they do not know about how the human reproductive system functions. Okay, like in which period, if they copulate, they can like control or prevent the fertilization. So this type of thing is not educated. This is all due to illiteracy of the person, and they do not know about how the reproductive system works, and that is why they cannot control also the population. Yes. Second is the traditional belief, like people think that children are the gift of God. Okay, and if it is the gift of God, we should accept it in happy manner, and that is why they do not make any effort to avoid pregnancy. Clear? Thirdly, the mortality rate. So when mortality matlab death. Okay, so the when the death rate is high, people think that for producing more and more child, so even if some of them will die, at least some of them will live or survive. So for that, they increase the population. Next is the economic reasons. Sometimes people think in the rural areas mostly that more children means they will get more income in their house. Okay, and instead of sending them to the school, they whenever the children are very young, like from 6 to 7 years only, they send them in working. Okay, so this create another main problem, that is the child labor. So again, the same generation is also not, the next generation basically is also not going to the school, and the same illiteracy rate will be there in that generation also. So this is another problem. And other than this, the religious and social customs are there, no family planning. So these are the main reasons for the growth of population, right? Now for this growth of population, they create a huge pressure on the resource. No, what do you mean by this resource? Any idea about the resource? Resource is nothing but anything which we are using for our welfare, for our proper survival, whatever we are using, air, water, any fossil fuels, and anything, right? So as the population is also rising, they are giving a huge effect or the pressure on the natural resources also. So let us see what are the natural resources. The animal resources for like rearing them and getting the different products from them, the crude oil, forest resources, metals, minerals, rocks which we get, water resources, land resources, solar energy and wind power energy, mainly the natural gas. So these are the different natural resources, right? And these are coming under the pressure, mainly the resources like food, land, forest, energy, electricity, and other different types of energy, water, and minerals, which are non-renewable, means we cannot renew them again and again. If they are totally used up, then we cannot, the next generation may not get it again. Yes. So the very first one is the food. So most important is food, because we are growing in a proper geometrical progression, but the food is rising in arithmetic progression, and that is why it is creating a huge pressure on the food resources, because all of us need to survive after getting the food properly, right? And that is why sometimes what happens, the food runs in short of demand. Okay, so let us see what do you mean this geometrical progression and arithmetical progression. So mainly if you think about of an example, like father and mother is having four child and four children, also they can give rise to the four children in the next generation. So 4 into 4, it is becoming 16 children. So what is happening over there, we are multiplying, right? In each of the generation we are multiplying, like 4 into 4, in the next it is 16, then 4 and 4 it is 64, like this we are multiplying. So it is huge, the growth rate is very huge, that is the growth of the population. And if you think about the growth of the food, it is growing in arithmetic progression, means you have to just add the number like 2, 4, 6, 8, like this. Okay, so the food production is growing very less at a lower rate, but the population or human population is growing at a very high rate. Understood? Yes. Now, next is the land. So, for getting more and more land for staying, for agricultural, and for getting the different industrial materials, we are cultivating food, right? We are using the land, and thus become less and less available. The land is also becoming less available. the different forest products resources we are using, the timbers, the firewood, medicines from the different medicinal plants, the wood pulp resins, we are collecting them, and that is why we are also cutting down the trees, right? So this cutting down the trees is again another problem, because as you already know, tree is the natural maker of the food, or the producer of the food. They can photosynthesize and they can produce the food for all the living organism in on the world, right? So as well as they also contribute with the oxygen in the atmosphere, so that the oxygen and carbon dioxide balance will be properly maintained within the earth, in our atmosphere. They prevent the flood, they bring the rain, they maintain a proper water cycle, they stabilize the proper climatic condition, and most of it is they are the natural home for many animals, many wild animals. Yes, so we are cutting down these forests for making house, railways, waterways, um, industries, factories, and all, for cultivation also. So what is happening over here, they are giving a huge effect in the environment, that is soil erosion, drought conditions, sometimes the flood conditions. So this is a huge effect of the deforestation. So we should also plant trees, we should reforestation, we should practice the afforestation or reforestation for getting more and more resources, and like at least having a proper amount of resources on earth. So we should take care of this one also, planting more trees. Then if we think about the resource like water, so we are polluting the water because we are throwing the different garbages from the industries, even if in the like localities, right? So germ free water is very less, and it is becoming lesser and lesser nowadays, because a lot of different germs are there in the drinking water. We will not be able to drink that much that proper clean drinking water, and we can die suffering from the different types of diseases, right? Now let's move on to the next one, is the energy. So we need energy for doing everything, for running the factories, transportation, home, and all. And the major two sources of energy, mainly the fossil fuels, are the coal and petroleum. So if we use excessive amount of this energy, so definitely there will be no more when it will be totally exhausted. Yes, same thing happen in case of the minerals also. We are using a lot of different minerals for transportation, industries, and so on. So all minerals are non-renewable resources, right? If it is finished, we will not be able to get it again. So we should depend on the renewable resources like the air, water, sunlight, and all. Yes. So, keeping it in mind, we should practice the sustainable development. What do you mean by this sustainable development? It is nothing but we have to use it a little bit, and we should also keep it for the next generation so that they can also use it. We should not waste all these types of resources. So, this sustainable development is very, very important, which will help you to reduce the excessive use of the natural resources. If it is not needed, don't use it. It will give you this idea. Then recycling of the different products, or reusing of the different products, so that at least it will not be wasted. And using the different renewable resources like the wind, the solar energy, it will never end, right? So we can use or depend upon these types of renewable resources. Up to this much clear? Yes. Now, the reduce of the growth of the population, we should take care of this. We should educate the human beings so that the growth of the human population can also be reduced. So there will be less burden on the different natural resources. Better healthcare will be got by all the people, and better education. So let us see some of the statistical terms which are related to this population growth. First is the demography. Demography means demo matlab people, and graphos matlab measurement. So it is nothing but the scientific or the statistical study of the human population, or how much density or the size of the population is in a in a proper area, in a particular area, right? So how much the distribution of the population is. Second is the population density. It is the number of population per square kilometer. Okay, so in a particular town or city, how much population is there, how densely it is populated, it will give you the population density. Next is the birth rate or the natality, that means per 1,000 people में कितना birth हो रहा है per year. So it will give an idea about the birth rate. Similarly, death rate per 1,000 of the population में कितना death हो रहा है per year, it will give you a death rate. And the growth rate of the population depends on this birth rate and death rate. Means if the birth rate is more, death is less, so population is growing. If death is more and birth is less, then population is decreasing. Okay, it's very simple. Now come to the population education and the population control. How to limit this population growth. So we should give the messages to all the different people. It should go to all the different people that small family are very good, advantageous, and having many children is like harmful for us only. So we need to spread this education throughout the world, to all the different corners of the world. So for this, there should be the restriction of the marriageable age, that is 18 years for girls and 21 years for boys. The married couple should be educated so that they can delay for taking the first child, give birth to the first child. There should be a proper space in between the first and the second child, so that properly they will be upbringing, proper upbringing of the proper all those child, and they should stop the third one. Okay, and the people should get advice of the different family planning and prevention of the pregnancy. So we have seen this inverted red triangle in many areas, like in mainly in the hospitals and the offices. Yes, do you know what is this? It is the sign for the family welfare. So they generally give the advice how to plan a proper family planning, free of cost. Okay, so there are the family welfare centers where they generally give the proper advantageous or the proper education or proper idea of the family planning. So it definitely depends on the three main aspects. First one, family should be very small, and small family planning is very good. Second, taking care of the children, giving them immunization, vaccination, then oral rehydration therapy is very important so that the young ones will survive, they can hold them. And the third one is how to take care of the pregnant mother as well as the child by giving them the proper diet, nutrition, and so on. Okay, so these are the three main aspects of the family welfare. Now let's move on to the last portion, that is the contraception. How the birth control can be done, or prevention of the pregnancy can be done. There are a lot of different methods. First one is the pill, taking the medicines, tablets or pills are available in the market. Doctors generally prescribe the hormonal different pills for the hormonal preparation. So the hormones prevent the release of the egg from the ovary, and that is how the fertilization will not happen. Next is the barrier method. Barrier method, generally condom is used by human, like men, so it prevents the sperm to come in contact with the vagina. Next is the diaphragm. It is the round latex cap like thing which is fitted deep inside the vagina so that the entry of the sperm will not be there in the uterus. Next is the sperm killing agents. There are certain chemicals which are placed in the vagina which kill the sperms. Next is intrauterine devices. So intrauterine devices are mainly copper T, very common lip lock, which is fitted in the uterus. So they do not stop the fertilization, but they do not allow the implantation within the uterine wall. So implantation is prevented by this. And next one, this is the surgical methods, the tubectomy and vasectomy. So tubectomy in case of the female, where a very little portion of the fallopian tube is cut down or ligated so that it closes the passage of the egg. Similarly, in case of male, the vas deferens, a very little portion of the vas deferens is cut down or ligated so that the sperm will not come out. Okay, so these are the different things. And abortion or the medical termination of the pregnancy is not considered as the contraceptive method. It is also illegal after 5 months of pregnancy. So legally it is permitted if there is any genetic disease in the embryo, then only the fetus can be removed. Okay, abortion can be done. So this is all about the how to control the population. Let me tell you how it is very very dangerous, and how the what is the scenario of the total growth of the population. So the world's population is growing by 1.05% per year in 2020, it is seen, and approximately it is an additional 81 million people annually in 1 year. It is increasing. Okay, the global population is expected to reach 8.6 million billion in 2030, and 9.8 billion in 2050, and 11.2 billion in 2100. Can you imagine if the growth rate is similar? So it will be full of human population on the earth, and a lot of different types of disasters, a lot of different types of harmful effects will be there on our environment. And the sex ratio of the entire population now is 101 male is to 100, like 100 females. So this is also for the removing of the female embryo mostly, which is done in the many countries. So let us see what we have learned today. We have studied about the rise in the population, the different factors responsible for the rise in the population, and the pressure on the natural resources and the sustainable development. Then we studied about the population control, the family welfare, and the different methods of contraception so that the pregnancy can be prevented. Okay, so these are some of your extra time question. Try to solve it at home so that this type of question generally you will get in your exam. So thank you very much for staying till the end of the session. We will again meet in some of the other section. And before going, let me remind you, whoever has not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it and press the bell icon so that you will never miss any of the update of the upcoming session. And do not forget to like, comment, and share also. We will again meet in some other session. So thank you very much. Bye bye. Take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy.